Hello, my name's Craig McClellan. I'm the founder and CEO of ThinkOn Incorporated, a Canadian-based cloud services provider. Thank you for the time today. I'd like to spend a few minutes talking to you about ThinkOn. ThinkOn was started in 2013 in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. As a company, we've grown quite quickly over the last 8 years. Today, we have approximately 1,800 active subscribers who are predominantly enterprises or public sector entities. What makes us unique is that our services are sold through blue chip white label partners, organizations that have existing sales forces and are looking for new services to sell. That's what we specialize in. Think of us as a white label service provider or a contract manufacturer of services for organizations that have very active customers and are looking for services from the cloud to buy. Of those 1,800 subscribers, approximately 1,300 of them migrated workload to ThinkOn. That's a key thing to remember, in that we are actually a destination for existing workload as opposed to a born in the cloud platform where people start developing applications from scratch. One of the things I'm most proud of is that as a service provider, we've been very focused on minimizing churn. And that's the loss of customers through either consolidation or some sort of a service disruption issue. We've been very successful in minimizing churn. And as a service provider partner or as a customer, this is important to you because the last thing you want to do is go through a migration or a change of service providers. Our churn's actually averaged almost as little as 0.25% annually over the last 4 years versus an industry average of greater than 4%. And any of you know that in the service provider space, churn is your enemy. And if we can arrest that early and actually find ways to continue to grow strongly without that churn, it makes a difference. Some key facts about the company. We have 28 locations globally: Australia, North America, the Caribbean, and the UK. And 100% of our engineering and operations teams are actually based in North America. So we've kept all of our key technical resources onshore. That makes it easier for us to ensure quality of service and support. We've been very proud of the recognition we've received. Because we're being a wholesale provider, we have to work very closely with the vendors to ensure that our services adhere to their standards. So we have a certification in the highest level of recognition today. It's from VMware, from Veeam, from Hitachi, Dell, Juniper, and a list of others. What also makes us unique is because we're a wholesaler, we work closely with a number of VARs who also have excellent relationships with those organizations. And we try where possible to ensure there's a collaboration occurring between the manufacturer, our reseller, and our own service delivery infrastructure. The last point I want to raise here too is that we've been very focused on ensuring that our services meet international standards. So we are one of the most accredited service providers in Canada today. We are ISO 27001 certified, as well as 27017 and 27018, as well as SOC 2 and PCI. These are all really key things for us, and they're key for our partners and ultimately for our subscribers. So we've really embraced those standards. I will also say it's helped us a lot with our team, because now our team has an objective to achieve, and it's made a big difference for us as we run and grow the business. One of the most exciting aspects of our relationship with VMware is the new Sovereign Cloud Initiative. We are extremely excited and honored to be selected as the Sovereign Cloud partner for VMware in Canada. As a homegrown Canadian company, we've prided ourselves on being able to work both with commercial organizations as well as the public sector. And we appreciate that VMware has recognized that the public sector is in fact a different opportunity. And there are needs that surpass the needs of globally scaling organizations to deal with data sovereignty and workload sovereignty. And I think another aspect of this is operational sovereignty. So when we look at something as important as sovereign cloud, we think of it through a number of important lenses. One is physical infrastructure itself, fully segregated, available exclusively to organizations that meet the threshold for sovereign cloud definition and consumption. The second item is all of our resources are onshore. So we have sent no workload or operational oversight offshore. And unfortunately, that's one of the key challenges with some of the hyperclouds is that the operational support doesn't actually exist in the same country that the workload exists in. And I think that creates all sorts of challenges, real or perceived. They are still challenges that organizations need to consider in this day and age, given the heightened risk of data theft, data loss. And we're really proud of being able to deliver these services. We've actually been doing it for some time under the auspices of just being a good domestic provider. But it's exceptionally important to us to have the recognition now, especially as more and more public sector organizations are starting to adopt the cloud beyond email and other entry-level products. So we look forward to working with any of you that are in the public sector space, and we definitely are excited about our new sovereign cloud relationship. So a lot of people ask me, well, why ThinkOn services? Well, there are really three key things. We have to think of how do we fit? How do we fit within the relationship of our reseller and their customer? Can we establish trust between the reseller and ultimately the subscribers? Do they trust us to do a good job? And are we actually meeting them where they want to be met? As in, are we being flexible? So from a fit perspective, and this is why VMware is so perfect for us, we chose VMware back in 2013 because we wanted to have a hypervisor that was 100% compatible with what the industry used. So, we got close, 96% compatible with the enterprise workloads that we've migrated into our environment. The exception to that is some of the bare metal work that we do, where customers use some of our bare metal services, which is actually a good point about our fit, because we support virtual compute, bare metal compute, and private clouds all on our platform, which gives us a lot of flexibility and our partners a lot of flexibility. Then, of course, the Achilles heel of the hyperclouds is that their inability to support customer-owned assets, whether it's firewalls or encryption key managers or any other sort of device. We have found a way from the very beginning to ensure that a customer-owned asset can be integrated into our solution. So it's a true hybrid solution. So that means that our partners who also sell hardware can continue to do that and still leverage our cloud. From a trust perspective, I listed a number of vendors that we've worked with for a long period of time. We have excellent relationships with those vendors, as do you. If you're a reseller or if you're an enterprise customer, you undoubtedly know them and they work with them today. So that allows us to avoid finger pointing. We get great support by avoiding roll your own solutions where we would be the proverbial throat to choke. The last thing about trust, especially as we work through a partner community, is we have to support what we call what you see is what you get pricing. That means that the service quote that we generate actually matches what the invoice says. So there's no ambiguity, there's no hidden charges, there's no transaction fees or IO fees or other crazy charge that if I was a merchandiser, I could see that being important. But the reality is we deliver services on a wholesale basis, and people need to know that they're actually getting what they pay for and they're not paying more for what they get. And then from a flexibility perspective, we've been told repeatedly by customers and subscribers and prospects that they are tired of very long product catalogs. So for instance, instead of having a number of SKUs representing all the possible variations of RAM and CPU in our environment, we actually allow people to resource pool. They can get a certain number of CPUs, a certain amount of RAM, and then storage. And they can assemble their virtual data center with those resources any way they want, or any way the partner wants, if the partner's doing that for the customer. From an operations perspective, we, from the very beginning, we're multi-currency and multi-language, so we can provide support in multiple languages, and we can make sure that we're supporting the local currency, which is important because we want to take currency risk off the table for our partners. Then last but not least, because of our 28 data centers, we support multiple geographies. We have some services that are geo-redundant by default from the very beginning, and we have others that are customer-derived geo-redundancy if they need that. So it all kind of comes together, though, with really two key values. One is we love solving client problems. We work with our partners to do so. We think it's important that we can solve a problem. There's no point in selling a service that doesn't solve a problem from our perspective. And the second point is we strive to be the most nimble team at the table all the time. We want to be part of the solution, and oftentimes it's important to be nimble enough to do that. Now let's take a minute and look at our product portfolio. So as you can see, we offer a number of services. The good news is there's not too many. They're very straightforward and easy to understand. They fall into a certain number of categories. Yes, we have some data center services because we do own data centers, and it's a good position for us to be able to offer co-location services, like I said earlier, for customer-owned assets. We also have critical compute services. This is our VMware stack, whether it's dedicated bare metal or private cloud, multi-tenant cloud, hosted Tanzu. These are all really important things for us. These are the future of our business from a compute perspective, and we've been very strong proponent of giving customers what they want here. From a critical data services perspective, we have focused on a multitude of things. We focused on high performance storage in our block storage pool, and then we've got a very robust data protection category, which you'll notice we actually work with a multitude of software vendors in this category. That's because our view is our partners already have their preferences for data protection, whether it's Veeam or Commvault or Rubrik or Networker, for instance. Those are all services that we have developed and actually offer as a wholesale service to our channel partners. And then our area of expertise also extends into data archiving, where we've helped companies archive data for very long periods of time, up to forever. Actually, some of our Office 365 archiving services support forever archiving. And then, we also are in the business continuity offering space. So we offer real-time replication services, high availability services, as well as workspace recovery services through our hosted Workspace ONE offering, another strong VMware product. And then last but not least, we have a new area of the business falling into the data analytics space, where we're actually developing some next generation data indexing technology that will not only index data at high speeds, but allow us to provide an air gap service that still allows searchable data. We're really excited about the potential of that, but that's in the future yet to come. And then we wrap it all up with a really strong network family of offerings that support connectivity options. And unlike the hyperclouds, we don't charge port fees and access fees. We just charge for bandwidth consumed as it's consumed. One of the important things about our efforts with VMware involves Tanzu. We know that as an industry, we're seeing a rapid evolution to container-based services and re-platforming as organizations transition from legacy applications to new builds. In order for ThinkOn to be responsive to that opportunity, we needed to build our next generation cloud platform. And because of our excellent relationship with VMware and our long-term commitment to VMware, we thought that would be the right platform to use to build a suite of effectively Tanzu-powered services that in turn are available to all of our channel partners. So those that are in the development space can use our platform. Those that are traditional of ours can resell our platform to enterprise customers or public sector customers. And we offer that as a fully hosted service. Some of the things that we are doing that are a little unique are that we are treating each Tanzu subscriber as its own entity, meaning that our workload, our Tanzu workload inside our cloud will be completely portable without having to go through container extraction and migration to be able to move the entire Tanzu platform, if that makes more sense to you. And it also affords us the opportunity to provide a higher level of security and scrutiny of the infrastructure, because we're not actually commingling customer workload inside one Tanzu service delivery platform. So it's a little bit, I would say, more robust as well, because now we're able to isolate workloads entirely and guarantee that our subscribers through our channel partners can actually get access to dedicated resources. Now, I just want to leave you with a couple of thoughts. One is, we know that more than ever, it's about establishing a single source of truth for your data. That's a given. We see this now. Now, there's a variety of reasons why. It could be people have had negative experiences with regards to data spillage or leakage, and that has to be resolved. They could have concerns about data theft. Maybe it's just about getting better data to make better decisions. I've recently heard about people being very concerned about the quality of data being used for machine learning training, which ultimately drives inconsistent outcomes, potential data integrity challenges, and then, of course, financial accountability. So what we've seen, though, is that people have been sending data out to a variety of clouds. And sometimes the data is duplicative, sometimes it's proprietary, sometimes it's a derivative So you end up with three very similar sets of data, but not the same set of data. And it's hard to run a business or three departments of a business when you've got the same or similar or not the same data and it's being used for three different functions. And this is a problem. We know this is a problem, and we believe very strongly that it's going to become a bigger problem. So we actually have a solution for this. We're calling it a single source of truth. This is our vision. We believe in the world in the future. People are going to need to have one geographically redundant, dispersed facility that allows people to ensure their data is safe and secure in one location, but accessible from all the hypercloud locations. So it'll also support our critical compute infrastructure. So everything I just talked about, our bare metal, our VMware powered cloud, both public, multi-tenant, and private single-tenant clouds, as well as our support for Tanzu in that same infrastructure. It'll all be in close proximity to the storage pool. The storage is, again, distributed geographically, so it's redundant. And inside that one environment, really, there are four key service elements. It'll be very immutable, meaning completely immutable, meaning it can't be tampered with. It'll be highly durable, meaning it will be geographically distributed. It'll have a global namespace, and it'll have integrated backup, because we're now learning that you can't actually have multiple activities occurring against data in a single point in time. It'll be very efficient, meaning that it'll be tiered performance. Data that's active will be stored in high performance storage. Data that's inactive or not active at all could be stored in a completely air-gapped offline storage pool. But remember, it could also be indexed and be searchable. So we view this as really a holistic solution. And certainly not least, but not last, is security. Being able to ensure that this entire single source of truth infrastructure is protected with a strong perimeter is actually paramount. And we're very committed to making sure this works and is available to all of our customers. So we'd like to spend more time talking to you about this. So again, I'll just wrap up by saying thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask the team. Thank you.